Toby, thank you for joining us. It's a point in the right direction here at the Broadfield Stadium as we draw with Reading. Can I get your overall thoughts on the game first?
Yeah, it was a tough game. I think games like this at this stage of the season are always going to be tricky, but I think we've got to try and take the emotion out of games and play it just as if it's any other league game, which is obviously difficult because we all know the position that we're in. But from obviously experience of being in these sort of positions before, the big thing is to try and, like I say, take the emotion out of it and just play the way that we know that we can, which I think we did in spells. I think obviously the goal's disappointing. Other than that, they didn't really have many chances compared to what I thought we did, especially in the first half. So obviously we take the points. Frustrating not to get 3, but like I said, it could be a valuable point come the end of the season.
Yeah, I suppose you've been watching from the sidelines recently, but we just said to Rob, a lot of the frustrations in recent weeks have been that we've struggled to get a foothold in the game and really sort of create anything. Today, the frustration is we had a foothold in the game, but we were just unable to get the ball over the line until the 90th minute because it looked like we controlled a lot of the play out there.
Yeah, it was sort of two teams, similar style of play really, so we knew that before the game. We had to try and restrict them, which I think that we did, bar maybe a couple of chances. But I think if you look back on the game, obviously in the first half there was a few where we've entered the box in the final third and obviously they got a couple of vital blocks. And then I think we were the team, especially last 20 minutes, which were in the ascendancy, looked like we were going to go on and take it. But like I said, we can't be disappointed with a point, although we want to take 3. Essentially, it's a point on the board, which is the big thing.
Yeah, and obviously a great positive for you to come back into the side. We were just talking a little bit there off camera. You've only trained sort of once, like properly, before being thrown back in, but you didn't really look out of place. And as you said a little bit before, do you think that almost helped, the fact that it was so sort of last minute with Dion's injury, meaning you'd had to come in?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, if you think too much about it, it can go the other way. So I think the fact that I was essentially thrown in, I've trained once after being out for 6 weeks, and then obviously playing today, I think, like I said, it's actually helped the fact that I've not had too much time to think about it. I've just gone straight back in. Obviously, my legs were going a bit towards the back end of it, but I think, for first game back, I've sort of just built my way in. I think I didn't want to try too much, but felt like it was normal to be out there again and found my feet quite nicely.
Yeah, you did look like you found your feet quite nicely, and it must have been a tough mental challenge because if we throw it back, before you were out with injury, you played effectively every single game for us. You were certainly towards the Christmas period, you were the only one who played pretty much every single minute of league football. So to go from playing that amount in League One at your new club to then having 6 weeks on the sideline, it must have been tough.
Yeah, it was. I think the injury, probably there's only those closest to me that know how much it's been affecting me. So I think the breathing, I played pretty much until I could, and then it was just a case of I had to tap out and do what I needed to do. So to get back out there again was really nice. Obviously, not being able to play is mentally quite tough, but I'm lucky and fortunate that I've never had too many injuries to deal with, and touch wood, doesn't happen again. But like I said, just delighted to be back out there, and I think we've got 11 games to play now, so we'll treat them all as cup finals and see where we end up.
Yeah, you've obviously seen your fair share in recent weeks of the injury sort of room at the club. It seems to just sort of be growing, bigger and bigger by the day. But slowly, I think we are getting back. Obviously, with the likes of you coming back, and we should have the likes of Jeremy coming back in the next couple of weeks. So, with a positive spin on a performance like that, there's still a lot that we can achieve this season, isn't there?
Definitely, yeah. There's obviously big players to come back. Touching it there, Jeremy, Josh Flint, who was massive for us before he got injured. And we're going to need everyone going into the final stretch of the season. Like I said, there's still plenty of games to play for, 33 points up for grabs, which I know sounds like a bit of a cliche, but all it takes is one win, and then we can spiral. We've seen it with Cambridge, obviously they got 2 and straight up the table. We need to do the same. We've got some massive games coming up with people that we can hopefully drag into it, with the likes of Exeter and Peterborough. So we need to make the home a fortress. Like I said, it's a cliche, but we need the fans with us to make it compact here and horrible for teams to come here, because it's going to take all of us to get it over the line.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks. Obviously, when Flinty got injured, and now yourself and Dion being injured, Charlie Barker has sort of come to the fore, and he was captain today.
Yeah.
Can you just say what your thoughts on how impressed have you been with the way he's become a sort of one of the first team names on the team?
Yeah, he's a massive sort of testament to anyone that finds himself out of the team that can get into it. Because I think initially he sort of bided his time, and he's not necessarily the leader that you'd expect in terms of he's a shouter and a screamer, but I think the way he handles himself around the pitch, he lets his football do the talking. He leads by example. I think for a 21-year-old, he's got a very bright future, and obviously I'm very close to him off the pitch. So for me to see how well he's done in recent weeks and across the whole season, to be fair to him, he's been very, very good. And I think he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, and I come down to the training ground sometimes to do the press conferences and that, and I see the spirit that there is in the squad. How important is that when, for someone like yourself, when you have 6 weeks off?
Yeah, it's massive. I've had, like I said, I've had experiences like this before where dressing rooms haven't been quite like they are here. I think people are always wanting to know what the vibe of the changing room's like, but obviously you've said it yourself, the camaraderie's there and the team spirit is there, and I've been in changing rooms where it's not. So it needs to be kept at that level. Like I said, we've all got to be in it together, which we are, and take each game as it comes. Like I said, people will be frustrated that we've not picked up 3 points. I know from a fan's point of view, they'll be annoyed and agitated, but it's a tough league. Like I said, a point today is a valuable point, although we want 3. We've just got to take each game as we come and see where we end up.
And Charlton on Tuesday night, obviously a very tough game. They've had a great run since Crawley beat them back at the Valley. How much of that positivity from that night have you got to take into this and use it as motivation?
The exact same again. I think the fans that night, again in particular, it was probably one of the best away trips that they've had. They're going to want to come here and take 3 points. We want to go here and win 3 points as well, so it'll be a tough game. Probably a lot different to today, probably a lot less football being played with our Charlton like to play. They're very direct and physical, but we've got to match that and let our football come out on top, and like I said, we know on any given day if we take our chances and stand up to the task, then we can get the job done.
Thanks, Toby. Brilliant.
Yep.